at the Maine Forest and Logging Museum in Bradley, Maine. And sitting here behind me is a 1932 10-ton Lombard auto-type tractor. And what these machines are used for is hauling long sled trains of logs. One of these machines could easily haul over 200 tons, which is pretty amazing. And if you look further behind, you can actually see an example of one of the sleds. So these are what are known as Lombard patent logging sleds. Alvin Lombard basically designed and developed the very first practical track system. And his first machine was steam powered. He made it in 1900, and the last machine was made in 1936, and that was a diesel. So these are pretty popular here in Maine and New England for hauling logs in the winter. So the sleds itself, this sled alone weighs over 3,000 pounds, and you can fit about 14 tons of logs on it, which is pretty amazing. Originally, this tractor was sold to the town of Waterville, Maine, and they used it for plowing roads, which is why it has rubber tires on it. Normally, for use of hauling logs, they'd have skis on the front, so basically you can say it was one of the first snowmobiles. So this machine right here, this is a 1928 Lombard Model T. So Lombard, in addition to providing tractors for the logging industry, also tried to expand into road construction and so forth. So this particular machine weighs 8 tons. It was actually made for the city of Gorham, Maine in 1928. And here it is at the museum now. It's got a 6-yard dump body, and it'll go just about anywhere. It's also set up so we could actually have skis on it in lieu of the wheels. We're working on getting the skis. And it's powered by a Hercules 6-cylinder motor. It's 4 speeds forward and 4 speeds in reverse as well. It's a pretty cool rig. So this is our sled pavilion that we designed. So I'm thinking, Drew, that for the construction engineering technology students, they do a spring semester, and maybe see if they can come back and do a good job with
You gotta put siding on one side of this?
Yeah, so this side here, the north side, they're going to put our 1907 Lombard steam log hauler that was made in Waterville, Maine. It was invented and developed by Alvin Lombard, also Waterville. This particular machine, again, bought in 1907, was used by the Eastern Manufacturing Company near Russell Brook, up in the Allagash. It was abandoned on site in 1913. It was salvaged by another lumber operator in 1919. And again abandoned on the Allagash River at Knowles Brook in 1925. And it was salvaged in the late 60s by Burt Packard. And then in the 1980s, it was acquired by the museum. They spent 30 years restoring this machine to operation. It's one of only 2, or actually 3, operating Lombards. In fact, we have 2 operating Lombards. And you can see we have wheels on it. Normally these would have had skis. You can see it says skis underneath this machine. We just store them there. We have wheels on it because we demonstrate it during the summer. It weighs 19 tons, fired by wood, and it is a beast. There are no brakes, and just like the gas Lombard, this was designed to haul heavy sled trains loaded with logs. This thing will haul over 300 tons. And it's only rated for about 100 horsepower. So that's not bad. So if you want, Tony, you can go right up in there. I'll give you the,
All right.
I'll give you the tour. This is the business end of the Lombard log hauler. We have our throttle right here so we can control the speed. Down here, the red-handled lever, this is our reverse quadrant. Moving this forward or back changes the position of the valve so we can have forward and reverse. This is the mechanical lubricator to lubricate the valves. We've got injectors for adding water, and then we've got our firebox. And again, we burn wood, because in the woods on a logging operation, that's the cheapest there is. And our pressure gauges and our blower and all kinds of cool stuff.
Nice.
And the top speed is about 5 miles an hour.
All the comforts of home and then some.
All the comforts of home and then some. So this machine behind me is another Lombard steam log hauler. It's almost identical to the one we just looked at over there. This one also is in operating condition. It's on loan to us here at the museum, and we're thankful to have it. It's an amazing display. A lot of the woodwork on this machine, the cab, etc., is all original. This is a reproduction here. And you can see we have a little bit of shelter to protect the steersman from sparks and a little bit of the weather. So this machine was abandoned at Fish River Lake. It was built in 1914, by the way. And as far as we can tell, it was abandoned at Fish River Lake. It was salvaged in the 1960s. It actually sat alongside Route 1 coming out of Presque Isle for a good number of years. And then Harry Crooker acquired it. He owned a construction company down in Topsom, and he fully restored it to operating condition, and now it's on loan to us here at the museum.
These things use a lot of wood, but they use a lot of water also. And they could go to a stream and with a vacuum, draw that water into the water tank.
Very nice.
And about every 7 miles, they need to fill the tank.
Oh, wow.
And a cord of wood takes you how many
About
miles?
the same.
Yeah.
We took some Stanley steamers out and they had the same issue.
Yeah.
So there's a picture of it as found. They basically burnt the shed right down around it. This particular Lombard was operated well into the late 1940s. In fact, we have pictures of it being operated at the Caribou Winter Carnival, hauling sleds down the street.
Nice.
So.
Photographically, people always prefer this one.
I know, it's the cab. The cab is just
We
amazing.
bring in photographers and they, no, we don't. This was a huge help to the restoration because we didn't have blow trunks, and we would measure up parts and copy them for this machine.